Longchen was writing this and teaching this in the 1300s. So about 700 years ago. And it's all about your very simple awareness. That's the one word that can easily still apply to us, right? That it's the host of all of our experiences. Whether we're thinking, we know we're thinking. Whether we have um, the uh, the entire environment is being held within our awareness. So this is sort of the host of your experience. And in that regard, we can take refuge in the awareness. We can kind of relocate ourselves into that part of our mind that's always been there. And it is a kind of rebirth in a sense. And that's why we're talking about uh, this felt uh, experience of dying in various spiritual ways. Well, I think you can have this ego death. There's something to all that. And then, kind of like Marcus was sharing, you can begin to really slow down to the speed of life. There's so much beauty in each moment. I mean, out here we have this sage, and um, when the dogs run through the sage, and then I pet them later on, they smell like sage. And it's just these little things that, if your mind was very, very busy, you would miss that. And there are all types of, you have a whole intuitive mind here. It's available to you, as many of you already know. And this is called your wisdom mind, okay? So, Sherab in Tibetan, or Yeshi. And I think Sherab is related to the word Yeshi, but I could be wrong about that. So anyway, it's the idea that you have this inherent wisdom underneath the more coarse activity of your mind, and the grasping and the self-grasping is the taproot of it all. So when that contraction, it's a somatic contraction. If you really uh, start to meditate and come into the presence and just be aware, that's all it is. You will see that it's a contraction whenever you feel bad, whenever you feel lost. It's always going to be some type of contraction in the body and the body mind experience. It could even be in your brain, in the back of the neck, especially in the shoulders, the stomach. These are places that hold a lot of bull crap.
So,
So,
are you
yes,
talking about reaction in a sense?
reaction.
Yeah, is that what
I,
you mean when you say holding those feelings?
uh, well, there are different levels. There's known as coarse and subtle, and then super subtle levels of grasping. So, if I was to say something like talk about your favorite food right now, and if I was to talk about it for 5 minutes straight, you'd probably start grasping that thought, like baked potato or something like that. I love potatoes. I try to throw you all off with the broccoli stuff. Broccoli is really good too, but I really love potatoes. So anyway, so if I start thinking about potatoes so much to where I grasp it, and it's all my mind, now there can be liberation. Now there can be release, because I'm holding the thought of potatoes, baked potatoes, scalloped potatoes, twice baked potatoes, anything, right? And I just release it, and now I'm not thinking about potatoes anymore. That right there may seem simple, but that is very, very powerful. Being able to let go of a thought, you see, because I don't have any potatoes here today. So I'm only torturing myself. You understand though that gongshar, that's what I mean by releasing. And then there's the subtle, more subtle stuff, like if you tune into your neck and shoulders right now,
Yeah.
Just immediately there's release, isn't there?
Yeah. Yeah. Just the mindfulness.
Or just by placing your body into awareness. You don't even have to do anything, because doing something would be another contraction. See, in the face of when we calm down, our whole experience is now in that awareness. So there's total release of that tension throughout the body and the mind. And that's self liberation. That's where you will find this very clear mind, and you find your natural state again. And very nice to do yoga, whatever you love doing. I think yoga really comes to life in the face of this awareness practice. Um, Sports can, cooking and things like that, art, music. Uh, yeah. Any other sharing? Well, we should probably go back to the text here. Cameron saying, I woke up from a dream last night and I wrote down this question to ask the group. Is there a word for destiny pronounced tinkma? All right, group, you let them know. No, that's funny. I'm gonna read a little bit. Just we'll do about 5 minutes or so of this text. That's very interesting. Anybody out there in the YouTube world know of a word for destiny named tinkma? You let us know. So here again, Longchen is coming with his primary sources on the nature of mind, and he's quoting the all-illuminating sphere. Remember, this is about your mind. It says, totally pure by nature, like a crystal statue. Dharmakaya is flawless, unobstructed, and pristine. Although the apparent phenomenon of earth, water, fire, air, and space do in fact manifest with characteristics to a mind that lacks realization, they manifest yet are ineffable by nature. Yeah, for anybody who has any doubt that these yogis are talking about all the elements, there it is: earth, water, fire, air, and space. They manifest just like a dream. So it says they are evident as the radiance of timeless awareness. For example, although a rainbow appears clearly in the sky, it does not exist apart from the sky. It only seems to. Hmm. It abides within the context of the sky, and, like the sky, cannot be separated from that. And they reference the rainbows a lot because you will actually begin to see, especially if you're doing Togyal practices, the rainbow light has quite a significance in Dzogchen, and because of the five lights. And of course, if you have any questions or inquiries about that, I'll get more into it. Otherwise, I'm just going to leave it for now. And lots of stuff on the rainbows. So it says here, in the space within which the nature of phenomenon and dharmakaya are inseparable, the radiance of timeless awareness is naturally arising, naturally manifest, and naturally lucid, ceaselessly evident. It seems to exist apart from that space. Lucid and non-conceptual, timeless awareness is dharmakaya. Remember, dharmakaya, kaya means body, dharma means ultimate truth here. So the ultimate truth body is emptiness, that uh, not even emptiness. Your mind is everywhere and nowhere. So if this was all a dream right now, where would your mind be? It'd be freaking everywhere, right? That's why they call it the nature of mind. So even if you see a rock, it has the life of your mind at the very least. And that's why we can treat everything with a sense of sanctity and respect. And, you know, we can have that wholeness and that evenness because our mind is everywhere, even in the space in between objects. So, and what it means by lucid and non-conceptual, that's that intuition that I was talking about. Um, that it's a sharp intuition, though. Um, Many people think of intuition as something that's kind of vague and hazy. Not when your thinking mind gets out of the way, when you're not thinking so much, your intuition is on point, I'm telling you, and you can run on it. And I encourage you all. Yes, Gongshar, jump on in there, my friend.
I've been moving out of my old place for the last couple weeks, and I keep losing things and then finding them like within a few minutes of, you know, dedicating a search to them. Often I find that it's kind of funny. A couple I found right in front of my face as soon as I asked where they were. Um, but I just want that's one of
Carl
the
Jung would
two
be
things I
proud of
think.
you.
Oh, would you what?
I said Carl Jung would be proud of you.
Well, I was gonna say that's one of two things you said would happen when I started practicing this, and I think the other thing is that yeah, is that basically there's a lot of instances of it's awkward to put into words, but for lack of better explanation, when you say something that somebody else is thinking,
Yeah,
uh,
that's clairvoyant. Yeah.
oh, well, I was gonna say the like when you're reading a book and and you think, oh, I wonder about this, and then that's the next sentence.
Oh yeah.
But it's even funny. I was talking with Catherine about this, who was my old roommate, for those who don't know. And she was like, she has been experiencing all that too since I was living with her. It's wild.
Mm-hmm. Yeah,
And
it's
she doesn't even
the mind is
practice.
non-dual. It's they're the I think six supercognitions, and those are for real. Luckily, we have skillful means and compassion at that point to where we don't abuse these things, but that does end up unfolding for us.
I feel like I have to say at this point, I feel like it would be so unnecessarily stressful to to not be I suppose on the more compassionate side of things. Not to say that I'm a good person or anything, but just like it's like to give a very crass comparison. I've heard it said that, you know, it's sometimes if you have a significant other or a partner, it can be really difficult to cheat on them because, you know, maintaining one relationship is difficult. So it's how can you do that for three or four? It's got to be impossible to juggle that much. And I feel like it's similar for being evil or doing, you know, this kind of terrible thing or maintaining the kind of worldview that encourages that. It takes a lot out of you. It takes your energy and stuff,
Yeah,
and other people's too.
yeah, yeah. So, somebody brought up a concern in one of the YouTube comments that was pretty valid, and it was talking about how are there dangers of going kind of crazy with this practice? But I think if we stick to our empathy and our compassion, we'll be all right. Gongshar is getting hit pretty hard in the comments, so I'm gonna continue to. I'll just finish this and we'll close out. So, manifesting naturally in itself, Sambhogakaya is timelessly awakened. That's your awareness itself, the cognizant aspect, your whole mind. And it says responsiveness is dharmakaya in which dualistic limitations are totally and innately pure. All right, very good. Thank you, Yeshi, and thank you everybody for making it a group today. It's always fun to hang out, talk about this meditation stuff. I appreciate you. And are there any final words? Anything before we check out today?
I wanted to share because he didn't make it to the meeting. My old buddy Derek, he said, "Oh, I'll show up tonight," and I said, "Okay, just remember that we are all the potato of awareness."
How did you do
Shared
that?
joke, and
Is
then
anybody
tonight
else
you.
seeing an inception there? A sterling inception? He has like two sterlings within the sterling.
Oh, you mean when I left the meeting and yeah, I think I signed out for my iPad. Is that what you're talking
I
about?
just never have seen that before. Oh, okay, never mind. I think there was some kind of weird overlap happening for me. Okay,
Oh,
very good.
anyway,
Oh,
then you started talking about potatoes. I thought that
oh,
was just a ridiculous synchronicity tonight. I wish Derek was here to witness that. Oh well.
I'm telling you, that synchronicity is everywhere. You'll be listening to some music, and go along exactly with something that's happening right there in the moment. There's all types of, and those are just superficial ways that we catch on to it. We can catch this stuff in every minute detail. It's amazing. Okay, very good, everybody. Thank you so much for taking part in this, kind of reclaiming our minds, getting some sovereignty of our minds and hearts back. It's always wonderful to partake. Oscar, I did do the medicine Buddha. We'll have to wait for another time for that one, okay? So we'll wait for the right time and we'll talk about the medicine Buddha stuff. But mainly, we want to stay with the awareness practice because that is the medicine Buddha. That is the ultimate healing, is our own awareness as our guru, right? Okay, very good. So we'll take a moment of silence. These groups are considered very meritorious. Very, any compassion, any realization that's been stirred up today, they're beings in this very presence. They're suffering, and we give it all to them. Okay, deep bow to you, my friends. Take care out there, everybody. Bye.